Hello, everyone, and welcome to Superman Homepage Live, brought to you by SupermanHomepage.com, the number one Superman fan site in the world. In this, July 28th, 2025 show, we're going to be covering a range of topics, including comparing superhero movies and why people feel the need to do it and what is all that about. We're also going to be talking about all the stuff that's been happening since the Superman movie has been released. We're going to be getting into some of the comic book side of things, merchandise, so much to get through. We've got our end of month segments, our fan favorite segment, plenty to go in this next hour. And joining me, as always, are my two good friends, Michael Bailey. Hello, Michael.
Hey, Steve, how's it going?
Doing well. And Mark Lax. Hello, Mark.
Gentlemen, how are you?
Doing well, thank you very much. Well, let's get into tonight's topics, but before we do that, let's get the housekeeping stuff out of the way. We want to thank our sponsors and patrons, our champions, Douglas Meacham, John Patrick Van Pelt, Tina Murray, Rick Schutzow, and Jamie Klingensmith. Thank you so much for your support. You keep this show free for everyone by being a great patron. We love the fact that you are supporting this show financially. And if you would like to join those fine folks and have your name read out at the beginning and end of every show, then all you have to do is go to patreon.com/Superman homepage, and you too can be a sponsor of this show. And for once, we might have enough time to take some callers, maybe in the second half hour of tonight's program. We'll see how we go. But Michael, if they do want to call in and have a chat to us tonight, how do they go about doing that?
Oh man, it's been so long since I've had to do this. Let's see if I remember everything. Yeah, you have to go to supermanhomepage.com/live. No, you go to supermanhomepage.com/live. You press the call now button. That'll take you into the green room. You can watch the show as you're waiting to talk to us. Or you can use your smartphone and scan the QR code that is right next to me, and you can do the same thing. Now, a couple things. If you're using your computer or your laptop to watch the show and you have an external speaker, please mute that if you're going to talk to us, because we are in a bit of delay, and as in like old school radio, that kind of screws things up. And if you're using your smartphone, please use a headset, AirPods, Bluetooth things, whatever you do, because for some reason, when you use your speakerphone, there is a crackle like crazy. So, but yeah, that's pretty much how to do it.
Yeah, indeed. And if you're a little bit shy and you don't want to get on the phone tonight to talk to us, then feel free to participate in the comments. We are across YouTube, Facebook, and Instagram tonight. So feel free to have your comments, ask any questions. The three of us can see that feed. We'll react to any comments or question you might have, and we will feature them on the show as we go along tonight discussing certain things. And to start with tonight, I want to discuss the main topic of the program, which was comparing films. At the moment, the Fantastic Four has been released, and it's been out for nearly a week now, or half a week. And straight away, everyone wants to start comparing box office. Starts wanting to compare, how it's doing, what fans think. We've already been doing it with Superman, this new movie, and previous films like Man of Steel, and looking at the box office numbers. And while I understand the need to do that, and how especially within a franchise, people want to say, is Superman getting better? Are things moving along? Are people still interested in the film? Is it a good film? Do critics and fans both like it? But what I don't understand is the need from some people, some quarters, to gloat when one is doing better than another, or shove it in the face of somebody who likes something because they just feel the need to be a douchebag, pretty much.
Steve, you're a sports fan.
Yes, I am.
What do sports fans do?
Yeah, I get where you're coming from, but that is a competitive sport. You're actually winning
Fair.
and
That is-
losing.
yeah.
There is that's the nature of why you follow sports, is to there's a winner and a loser. Here, this is entertainment.
Yeah, but my point is, one, to be a little snarky and to get that reaction, which I got, so I succeeded on that. But my point is that I think if you take anybody that is a fan of something, like you boil them away to their essences, we're all the same. And sports fans, yes, there is actual competition there. Though I think if you talk to studio heads, there's competition there too. But there's like literal competition. Your Rabbitohs play, I don't know any other names of teams. I just know that one because of you. And you're gonna, if one of like I'm sure you have a rivalry with one particular team too.
Yes.
So when those two are playing, you're like nattering at each other because that's part of the fun of sports. Um, I think with movies in particular and comic books, we we have a culture where we are given so much information about these things, and we are given access to instantaneous reactions and feedback.
Mm.
And so it has created this culture of people who feel they are obligated to, one, pick a side, and two, have an opinion about that they will argue and in some cases make their entire personality. I don't understand looking at the box office of this Superman film and Man of Steel and Superman Returns outside of an academic conversation. Like
Sure.
you're just like this is interesting. Like this made this much, this made this much, this one had this dip the second week. And there you're just talking about facts and figures, but what
Mm.
it turns into is obviously Man of Steel was better because it did this, that, and the other. And I don't get it either. And the Marvel DC rivalry has been a thing since the 60s, so it's just now more global. And I think that you just have people that this is how they interact with other human beings on the internet. And it has become completely socially acceptable. And so it's almost normalized to a point where when it happens, I don't even like it, like it kind of rolls off me. Like I'm like, okay,
Yeah.
someone's sitting there saying that the Fantastic Four is better because it did this its first weekend. Can't I'm with you. Can't we like both? And apparently we're not allowed to. I think they passed a law. I'm not sure. They might have been in the big beautiful bill. I'm not sure.
Uh,
I haven't read it, and neither is most of Congress. So
no. Well, Justin Suarez in the comments says it's like you like ice cream, but there are different types of flavors.
yeah,
To take that a little bit further, and this is my problem. So you got Neapolitan ice cream, right? Where you got the chocolate, the vanilla, and the strawberry, right? For me, I love chocolate. I like vanilla. Don't like strawberry. But I don't go onto ice cream Facebook fan groups and tell anybody who likes strawberry that they are an idiot for liking strawberry, or that most people like chocolate and vanilla over strawberry. So you must be must be something wrong with you if you like the strawberry over the vanilla or the chocolate. Like, have your preferences, sure, but you don't need to go rub it in the faces of everybody else out there who does like what you don't like. And nor do you have to take it as a challenge that just because somebody else does like strawberry over chocolate or vanilla, that they're saying that there's something wrong about you for liking chocolate and vanilla.
if I could add one more thing before we jump to Mark, I think the other problem is that people get so tied up in their opinions and make it so fundamental to their personality that when you disagree with them, their body literally registers that as an attack, and so they respond in kind.
Yeah.
It's a really weird. It's this weird physiological thing. But that was the other thing I wanted to mention that I forgot. I'm sorry. I'm
No,
not
go
trying to
for it.
monopolize.
Mark, your thoughts on this?
Well, I think we knew from the beginning that once this movie came out, it was going to be compared. It was going to be in competition. Is it going to do better? Is it going to make more money? Is it going to be number one? And Superman's going to be number two. And we knew this was going to happen. And again, as you were talking, it's the people gloating. It's the people saying, this made more money or did better in the weekend or did better. And it's like, you know what, man, just chill. I mean, there's room for all these. I mean, here we finally get this Superman movie. For us, anyway, the one Superman movie that we feel finally gets a lot of what we love about it, you know? And it's doing well, and Rotten Tomatoes, blah, 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 and all that. And now here comes this other movie coming on. And now we're saying, well, wait a minute. We don't want this to do better than our movie. Don't do, we want it to, we want our movie to stay the way it is, And then suddenly this movie either does a little better or it's around the same thing. And suddenly there are people on both sides just like, oh my God, how could this be better than the Superman movie? It's like, oh, your Superman movie was lousy. See how better Marvel is. The Fantastic Four is doing much better. It's like, you know what, man, I want to go see it. In fact, I'm in a couple of days. I'm probably going to go see the Fantastic Four. I'm really looking forward to it. But see, that's the thing. I could, love the Superman movie as much as I want, but I still want to see Fantastic Four. And if I like Fantastic Four, this is doubtful, even though I hope I like the movie, I could say I like Fantastic Four a little bit better than I like Superman. So what? They're both good movies. They both deserve to be as successful, as the other. One can make a little more money than the other. Big deal, Right now, they seem to be on par with each other, which more or less, which is fine. I mean, that's just showing how we can get two great superhero movies out at the same time that are doing more or less as good as the other. Why are we complaining about it? Okay, you're a Marvel fan, fine. Don't start gloating with the DC people like this is a better movie. Come on, don't be a child. Well, I shouldn't say we're all adults because I know a lot of kids are seeing these movies, but we're all sane people here.
Hopefully.
Yeah. Reasonable people, exactly. And we should stop fighting with each other over this craziness. There's room for 2, 3, great superhero movies at the same time, and it doesn't matter what company it is. If you enjoy it, you enjoy it, and that's what it's all about. Us enjoying the movie, feeling good, leaving the theater going, that was a good movie.
Yeah, exactly. And someone said, Jackmar Sarkin in the comments said, people need to learn the lesson of kindness from the Superman film itself. So, unfortunately, there's a lot of people out there who go watch these things but don't take to heart some of the messages that are put across in those films. So while we're talking about people's opinions and what people think, this one caught a few people's got their dander up, so to speak. So David S. Goyer, who wrote the script for Man of Steel, has come out in praise of James Gunn's new film, saying that it's a fresh take on the iconic character, he says each generation gets the Superman they need. I felt like the pendulum with Man of Steel, obviously that was a much darker, grounded version, and we're in a very different place. And I love that just the tagline, that kindness is punk rock. So he thinks it's a great movie. So fantastic.
Yeah, when I read that, the only thing that kind of put my nose out of joint a little bit is he's just like, Jeff Johns and I took Mr. Terrific as a character and made him into something. And I'm like, that's kind of insulting to John Ostrander, and Tom Mandrake, who created the character. No, I think people have gotten to the point where they think anybody associated with like the Zack Snyder films is going to immediately believe that their version is superior. David Goyer is somebody who is kind of fascinating. You should really listen to interviews with him because he's got a lot of interesting thought processes. But he wrote Blade, and he wrote 3 Batman films, and he wrote a Superman film. He's a comic book fan. So it's not out of the realm of possibility that he would see another version of something that he worked on and like it. The one other thing that he said that I thought was funny, he goes, I wrote the Nolan Batman films, but I still like the Batman. And I'm like, that's because they're not too different there, David. There's a tonal difference, but they're both that kind of rugged, realistic, like, haunted Batman. But I'm glad that he liked it. I'm glad that most people associated with the previous versions of this character are enjoying the new version on some level. And to go on what we were just talking about, I think fandom as a whole needs to kind of embrace that
and get on board. Yes, indeed. Anything to add, Mark, about Goyer?
Well, I didn't read the whole thing, but I am glad that he's coming out and other people are coming out too, and just being honest and saying, you know what, I think it's a good movie. And coming from David Goyer, who wrote Man of Steel, that means something. You
Yeah,
know, that
yeah.
that means something to a lot of people. So I think it's good show on him.
And somebody else who came out saying they liked the film was George R.R. Martin, obviously Game of Thrones creator. He gave glowing praise to this new Superman movie, calling it one of the best Superman movies in a long time, maybe ever. And he said that, yeah, he thought that Rachel Brosnahan was the best Lois ever, potentially rivaling Margot Kidder, and absolutely loved Nicholas Holt's portrayal of Lex Luthor, declaring him far and away the best Luthor of all time, a truly chilling villain. Mark, what do you think of that?
Well, coming from coming from George S. Martin, the problem with him, I mean, look, he created one of the most popular TV shows ever, and one of the most franchise biggest franchises that we have. I mean, yeah, his fans listening to him, hopefully if they didn't see the movie, they might say, "Hey,
Yeah,
he likes the movie. Let's go
that's the
see the
point.
movie."
Yeah,
He's also the guy who took 35 years to not even finish a book, a series of books that he finished his TV show beforehand. I mean, I'm just saying there's negatives and there's positives, but I think it does mean something coming from him to say what he said. Now, to say the best movie ever and to say this person is the best so and so ever. I mean, that's his opinion. Not everybody feels that way, although I think we're in agreement more or less on some of that. But um, yeah, I mean, he's this very popular writer coming out of, no, I wouldn't say coming out of nowhere because he's definitely, comic bookish and all that. But, his fans hearing what he has to say. If they haven't seen the movie, well, I hope they go see the movie because he loved it.
Michael.
Yeah, I like George R.R. Martin. I've never read a single thing he's written,
Same.
but I enjoy. No, I like. I mean, this is a dude that was a comic book fan. Mind the Gap, mind the Gap, mind the Gap. In the comments, was actually said something I was planning on saying is that his first published work was a letter to the Fantastic Four. So if you, he's one of those names in like the '60s Marvel's letters columns that went on to actually become something big. I think the reason people do put weight into what he says is, as Mark said, he created this idea of Game of Thrones, which became a sensation. I think also people ask his opinion because you can put that in a tweet or a post or a headline on a website and you can get clicks because George R. R. Martin is somebody people know. No one is, sadly, no one is saying like, Mike Bailey or Mark Lax or, Steve Eunice have this opinion on the Superman film because outside of our circles, people are going to be like, okay, who's that again? And even in our circles, some people are like, who's Mike Bailey? But that's more whenever I see like celebrity X reacts to anything, I just like this is just for engagement. I mean, it's like I'm glad they got George R. R. Martin's opinion, but that ultimately that's what this boils down to. David Goyer again is for engagement, but at least there's some skin in the game there that he worked on the previous administration. So
Yes, indeed. Now, somebody who is in our circle of interest is Scotty V. Used to be a long-time contributor of the Superman homepage. He's returned, come out of the woodwork and given us a video, a great Scott video of his review of the Superman movie, which he hails as fabulous and joyous. And if you want to catch Scotty V's movie review, it's up on our website and on our YouTube channel. So if you're a fan of Scotty V's great Scott segments back in the day, here's one for a bit of nostalgia, getting Scotty V back to give us his review of the film. So it was great to see Scotty, who, like us, has grayed since we last saw him. So, well, like me anyway. But yeah, it's a long-time contributor. Great to see Scotty back, and happy to hear he enjoyed the film.
We're all aging in real time.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, you don't notice our aging because it's incremental. You see us every week, but then you see someone who we haven't seen in a while, and it's a bit more obvious. All right. Well, we have been getting some more details about the Superman movie, and there's been some more behind-the-scenes videos thanks to Cinemoves Incorporated, who gave us some of the flying sequences, and here was some of their behind-the-scenes video footage on the rescuing of baby Joey.
One, go!
I think we need to get to those portals over there.
Right. How do we work them?
I don't know, but we'll figure it out.
I think it's fascinating just seeing those behind the. It must be so hard to act and get your, hit your emotions and things like that. I mean, I don't know how they do it, hanging from there and feeling so silly and just. But somehow they managed to pull it together, and I guess that's he's a Juilliard actor, obviously, David Corenswet. But it looks weird, but I'm glad they know what they're doing, so that it comes together and looks so good when we actually see it on the big screen. Michael, have you watched many of these behind the scenes videos?
I've been watching a few of them. The thing that makes me laugh, and not in like a bad way, it's not like, oh, look how silly that is like you hear like the sound of like the wires as they're being dragged across the thing, and it's just like, wow, that music really covers up a lot, doesn't it? I mean, but I think more than anything, going on what you just said, how do they do that? I think with this film, and I haven't seen Fantastic Four yet, but I'm assuming it's the case in there because of like a lot of good Marvel films. It's like if you take it seriously, the audience will believe it. Audiences can smell BS. And if you are not 100% committed to it, they're going to sense it on some level. They may not be like, oh, he's not committed, I don't like this, but they'll dislike the project overall. So when you have people that are really super into what they're doing, they're able to put themselves in a mindset. You think of David Corenswet, and I forget the actor that played Metamorpho, which is really sad because I really liked his performance. But when you watch them, you got to be thinking, okay, they've got to do like 15 things at once. They've got to remember their lines. They've got to bring an emotional realism to what they're saying, and they have to remember physically what they're doing. It's different than stage acting.
Isn't it Anthony Carrigan?
Anthony Carrigan. Unless you're playing Superman, in which case you probably also have to think about what you're doing. But the point is that I think once you do it once or twice, I think it takes the brunt off the silliness of it.
Yeah, it becomes familiar. And I've seen them doing different rehearsals around, all the movements that they're going to be needing, so they get all that kind of stuff out of the way, Mark, so they know what's happening, they know where their movements are, then they can concentrate on their acting performance.
Well, I love the movie Magic. Okay, we saw that scene, and they're just kind of, and they're saying their little lines, and they're okay, and they're moving around, and then we see the movie, and it's just like, fantastic to look at this. You would never even think what we just saw was happening. All these behind the scenes, I think it gives us it gives us more insight into, the James Gunn's process and how they, and how everything works, how they're, it's not, we think of the movie, the actors, the director, the writer. We don't think of all the other people around who are all working on, these people moving them in these harnesses, moving them around and doing all that, and all these, all these other people. We get to see a lot of them, and see what they actually do, and that there's more to these movies than just the big names. And that, that's part of the behind the scenes stuff that I love, because we get to see these people really behind the scenes, and and how hard they work, and what and what they do.
Yeah, exactly. We see those scroll. Yeah, I mean, we sit through the credits these days because we're waiting for post credit scenes, and you're looking at all these best boy and grip and all these things that you can, you go, what the hell how are all these people involved in the movie? And then you see scenes like this and you go, oh geez, I wonder what that guy's credited as for grabbing his feet and moving him in the right direction. But it's all part and parcel of putting these things together. So well done to them for showing us some of these behind the scenes footage. Now, one of the people who was part of the film was obviously Alan Tudyk, who was the voice of Number 4, or Gary. And Gary was actually ad-libbed. It was not part of the script. It was part of the discussion that Alan Tudyk says he had with David Corenswet when they were kind of doing those scenes. And he was like, he needs a name. And, and David's going, yeah, well, we can come up with a name. And he said, what about Gary? And James Gunn wasn't sure about the idea of actually having this kind of a joke at this part of the film, wondering if it would kind of derail, this heartfelt moment. So here's a little bit of Alan Tudyk at San Diego Comic-Con this past weekend talking about Gary and the need and, the desire to have Gary in the film, the name.
That blockbuster that is Superman. What is that like?
Yeah. Got to go to, we shot that in Atlanta, and they built the Fortress of Solitude. It was a practical set. And so I just hung out with Superman for about a month.
Did you ad-lib that name that you gave yourself?
I did. It's like, why am I 4? And it's a funny reason why he's 4. It's that Superman was making robots. The first one was kind of bad. So he perfected it into a 2, still not so good. And it wasn't until 4 that he's like, okay, this is the leader. This is the one. But I was like, I really would like a name. And David, Superman, Cornsweat, was like, yeah, we should totally have a name. I said, what about Gary? And James was like, I don't know. Okay, I guess. Let's shoot it. And we shot it. And I thanked him at the premiere. And he said, you won't believe how many meetings we had about that name. He said, we went back and forth about whether or not that was a time for a joke. Should we just be all heart at the end, And luckily they put it in because I think it was a heartful joke. It was about.
So there you go. That's Michael. You're looking quizzical.
Should we have a joke seconds before a drunken Supergirl shows up and plays with Krypto?
Yeah.
Is this? I mean, I understand that you have to have these conversations. When you're looking at these movies, there's 15 billion eyes on them, and if you're trying to do it right, you are going to examine like every little moment to make sure it works with every other moment. But to say, well, do we want a joke at this heartfelt moment? Again, it's right before we get our first view of the new Supergirl, and she's wasted, breaking into the Fortress of Solitude, and then she gets slammed around by Krypto. I think that kind of kills some of the vibe that you were supposedly going for.
Yeah.
And he's right, because it's not as funny. It's more heartfelt that he gets a name. He gets a name. He goes, well, 4's a name, and he goes, well, I always like the name Gary or something. They'll call you Gary, and it's like it's a more personal moment. I mean, yeah, it's a little funny. I'm not saying it's not funny, but it's more of a personal moment. And then you get drunken Supergirl. So I just don't get the thinking of,
Well, I mean, it's his hearsay, obviously.
But yeah.
Yeah, and it just shows that Superman cares, that he actually sees this robot as a person, giving him a name. So, it's a great moment. And that's why we keep mentioning Gary. It's just, I love it. So, it's cool to hear that Alan Tudyk and David Corenswet kind of came up with that together. But some of the more behind-the-scenes stuff we saw this past week was James Gunn sharing the mural that is in the Hall of Justice during the film, the headquarters of the Justice Gang, showing us the history of metahumans on Earth. Now, he says, you asked for it, you got it. Here's the full mural honoring the history of metahumans in the DCU, adorning the Hall of Justice in Superman. Now, I recognize some of these characters, and I think there's websites out there who have gone in and documented who they think each one is. I think there's Zatara there on the very far right. Any other clues as to some of these people, and are you able to identify any of them or all of them?
you've got going from we'll do it backwards. We'll go from right to left. You got Zatara, you got Amazing Man, you got Sandman, you got I can't see it as clearly. That guy kind of things. The dude that's shirtless. I saw some people thinking that might be Iron Monroe or Hugo Danner, which would be interesting.
Yeah.
You have El Diablo on the horseback. Uh, you have Miss America. There you have what I'm assuming is Quicksilver in the red, unless they made Jay Garrick like further back. You have the Black Pirate. You have an Amazon Viking thing. Silent Knight, who, by the way, canonically, according to Mark Waid, is a distant relative of Jonathan Kent, or ancestor. And is that Amethyst over there
Mm.
in the thing?
Wow.
I mean, this thing was fascinating. Vibe. Oh my God, you got Vibe. You got is that Gunfire? Is that effing Gunfire? Really? Wow. Wildcat,
What?
Buona Beast, Atomic Knight, Phantom Lady, Dan the Dynamite and TNT, Bullet Girl, Quicksilver, Max Mercury, Bullet Man, Liberty Bell is right there. So yeah, these are some deep cuts. You've got to have read a lot of Roy Thomas comics to understand who these people are to a certain extent.
Yeah, a lot of Ulster Squadron.
I hope everybody enjoyed me listing names. I'm sure that's scintillating video.
Well, it was intriguing. People are also mind the gaps
Well,
adding a few.
yeah, I mean, whether that'll have anything to do in future movies, I don't know. But it is nice to to see that it's in canon. I guess
Exactly.
He's right. It's Super Chief. I sometimes get him confused with a Firestorm villain who looks very similar to that. So, Freedom Beast. It's Buona Beast. Come on. You know what Buona Beast's power is, by the way, in the comics? What his power was? He could take two animals and make them one animal. So he could take a pig and a dog and make a pog or something like that. They didn't do that when they had him on Justice League Unlimited. He was just kind of a guy that could assume animal powers. But yeah, he's one of those 60s characters that you don't look too deeply into.
Jack Ma Sarkin saying the last one is Max Lord in front of Lord Tech. Big ego to put himself in the mural. James Gunn isn't Max Lord. That's his brother.
Sean Gunn.
Sean Gunn. So yeah, it's his brother is an actor and he's in the movie. He's playing Max Lord, so it's not himself. So it's nothing to do with ego.
Oh, mind the gap. Oh, are you really? Do you get your water from a well? Well, actually, mind the gap.
What?
Very good.
Okay.
Anyway, moving on. So that was the mural. Very interesting to see behind the scenes on that and checking them out. And talking about behind the scenes, the Decorating Pages podcast uploaded a 55-minute interview with Superman set decorator Rosemary Brandenburg, in which she shares insights into the design process, choosing a timeless aesthetic that blends mid-century and Art Deco influences, and all the different stuff, from Lois Lane's apartment to the Daily Planet sets, Clark Kent's modest flat, and the Fortress of Solitude. So if you're really interested in set decorating, Rosemary Brandenburg's interview with the Decorating Pages podcast. Here is the graphic for that episode if you're interested, so you know what you're looking for. It's up on our website. As I said, 55-minute interview, really interesting, in-depth interview talking about all the set decorations for the Superman movie. Well worth having a look into if you're a fan. All right. Now, something else, and talking about the in-depth nature that they go into these films. We're talking about set decorations, like murals and things like that, and all the people who are behind the scenes doing all the pulleys and moving and all those different things. I wasn't sure with the Kryptonian language in this, if they'd gone as in-depth as they did for Man of Steel. Remember we had Dr. Christine Schreier on here who created the language for Man of Steel for Zack Snyder's films, and there was a whole written language and everything that, you know, it was very, very in-depth. Well, they've gone just as in-depth. I'm not sure about the written language, but definitely the audio, the spoken language. They created a new language for David Corenswet's for James Gunn's David Corenswet's Superman film, created by David J. Peterson and Jesse Peterson. It's a fusion of comic book lore and linguistic artistry that adds a depth of language to the Kryptonian language as heard in the film. They're calling it Sa-Krypton. Again, I don't know about the pronunciation, but there's a whole article up on our website. They've posted a whole thing on their website about the language and how they went about creating it. But I am always amazed at the depth of stuff that goes into creating these films, and the fact that they came up with a Kryptonian language for this that goes into the vocabulary, the way it's pronounced, the phonology, all that kind of stuff is really interesting. What do you think, Michael?
I think that I'm fascinated by people that do this kind of stuff.
Yeah,
because it's a skill set that I do not possess. I think if you're these guys, or the woman from Man of Steel, or even J.R.R. Tolkien coming up with a whole language just to make it more realistic, is just kind of Klingon is another one where they have an actual language that you can learn. So it's just like the level of detail in these movies is something that I don't think we're supposed to think about, but yet we do.
Yeah, and they do.
Yeah, so it's just like when we're hearing Jor-El and Lara speak, my first thing was, oh, they're actually doing a different language. It's not Marlon Brando saying Krypton. It's them actually saying something, and what that does is it creates kind of a disconnect with you as an audience, because you're like, well, what are they saying? So this is why we have the whole kerfuffle of, wasn't mistranslated. Now I will say this, I don't like it in the comics. I hate when I'm reading a Superman comic and suddenly someone's speaking in Kryptonian, and then I gotta whip out a decoder ring to read the comic that I paid money for. But maybe I'm just no fun.
I used to enjoy it initially, but then it became tiring.
Yeah, well, I remember once they had a glossary from one of the stories. They had a glossary in the back that you can go look, and it's like, well, yeah, that's kind of fun, but it's also kind of work.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, how they put those little quotes or something around, and they say translated from the Mandarin or something.
Yeah,
they could have done that and say translated from Kryptonese.
Yeah.
And anyway, but no, I do think, like Mike said, the level of going in there and just figuring out that this word means this and this word means that, and creating this language is it's fascinating.
It is. It really is fascinating. So well done to them for creating that whole language and adding to that level of detail that is in the film. All right. Well, the film, the soundtrack of the film is one of the things that other people are also talking about. And Entertainment Earth are now taking pre-orders for Mondo Music's Superman 2025 original motion picture soundtrack vinyl 2LP or double LP, which is available in two different types of variations, but this is the standard version. Vinyl is a big thing again, and people are loving the fact that this is out on vinyl. They're not cheap, vinyls, these days. I went to a store and had a look, and I was like, holy crap, they're like over $100, some of these vinyl records, So, it's definitely an eclectic choice because, you have streaming and you have digital and all that kind of stuff, but physical media, and not just cassettes or CDs, but we're going all the way back to vinyl.
Well, there's something about vinyl, I think, that is more visceral as a as a listening thing. I mean, I when I was a little kid, you guys probably had similar experiences. You know, records were kind of the first thing you had in the house
Mm.
when you wanted to listen to music. My parents had a pretty healthy record collection, a little esoteric, but in all over the place. But it was there, and there is something about taking it out and putting it on the turntable and lifting up the needle and all that. I will also say that, you know, like the younger generations have really adopted it as well. I think because again, there's a collectability to it because you're buying records.
Yeah.
So it's something you're amassing physically, and it's something that you can use again and again and again. I will say from personal experience that explaining certain things to the younger generations about records can lead to getting very frustrated at work because I can't explain to you why the 45 was a means to sell singles and why people would buy just one song. Why do you just buy one song on Apple? But, and yes, that is from personal experience. What I think is funny about this and what I think they should do is they should take the track that people want the most off of this soundtrack and just leave it off the album. They need to do just what they did with the Superman the movie soundtrack and leave the helicopter sequence just completely off of the record and any soundtrack until the Scottish Symphony Orchestra one from 1998. I think that's the only way that you can really truly recapture, you know, doing a Superman soundtrack on vinyl. For all those that appreciate that deep cut, I appreciate that. For all those that don't have no idea what I'm talking about, just read a book.
Well, at least through high school, I mean, I listened to, you know, mostly vinyl albums and 45. I'd go to every week, I'd go to the store. I go to usually Woolworths. Woolworths over here was the 5 and dime, you know, and I go and I buy the 45s. And I mean, man, I listened to those over and over, and all the albums I had over and over. I mean, it was, you know,
Yeah.
and you know, we're still a product of a, I guess, well, my parents were probably older than the baby boom, but that type of era. So I'm used to, but I mean, I haven't done it in years, but I'm used to putting that album on and then putting that little clip in the 45 so you can put it onto, you know, onto the regular thing. And, you know, I'm used to doing that. I loved that, you know, and then then cassettes came and then CDs, and then it was like, yeah, that's cool, but I still kind of miss that sound of the record, you know.
Yeah, exactly. And it would be always weird when you'd put on a 45 and it was on 33 and a third speed, or the other way around, and you'd be like, oh no,
you got a funny, yeah, you get funny voice.
You get the Chipmunks version.
Yes, I love that.
It's also fascinating looking at like the history of vinyl too. I know this really hasn't anything to do with Superman, but when they started making records, they like had like a minute worth of material because that's all the space that they had. And then as 78s became 33s, you know, you got more and more and more. I think one of the problems these days and why you're seeing $100 albums is because you do have to put less on more or more on less. So if you're going to do the Superman score nowadays, it's a 4-record set.
Yes, that's it. Double-sided. Yeah. All right, well, we better move on and get on to some of our regular segments. We will start on the Super Secret Soundbite, which is our end-of-month segment. Here is our intro.
Only one thing alive with less than 4 legs can hear this frequency, Superman, and that's you.
All right, well, our Super Secret Soundbite from last month was this.
Hey, loser. You're a loser.
And we had 4 people guess where that sound came from, and it was not actually from the movie, the new Superman movie, because while Steve Lombard does say, hey, loser, Clark responds with, hey, Steve, not you're a loser, which is obviously a different take or what have you, but it was in the trailer. So 4 people guessed where that came from. Who were they, Michael? Can you remember who the names of those 4 people were?
Oh, no, but you wrote them down, so that's going to make it easier for me. They were Jamie S. Klingensmith, J.P. Rocha, Lorenzo Hot Takes Valdez, and Luke, he doesn't have a middle name, Lizalde.
Well, thank you and congratulations to those 4 people for guessing where in the world of Superman that sound came from. Here is the new super secret soundbite for this month. Have a listen.
Well, all you have to do is just put away part of your allowance or your odd job money and put it in United States savings stamps at school. Those dimes, quarters, and dollars add up mighty fast, especially when you buy them every week on stamp day.
Kind of gave it away nearly. Do you think you know where in the world of Superman that sound comes from? If you do, head to supermanhomepage.com. Under the contact menu, you will find the super secret soundbite entry form. Fill out the form, send your entry in, and we'll read out the names of each person who guesses it right when we return to this segment at the end of August. So get involved in the super secret soundbite.
I'm looking forward to talking about that too, because there's
Yes.
a fact about that thing that is amazing in terms of Superman media.
Okay, well, hold your water until the end of August when we come back to this segment. All right, moving on to the fan favorite segment of our show. All right, the fan favorite question from last week was, what is your favorite what is your favorite quote or one-liner from the new Superman movie? We had quite a few people respond to this one. Michael, who was up first?
Well, Wonder wrote in, my favorite line is, maybe that's the real punk rock.
Very cool. Thank you to Wonder. Next up.
And Jamie S. Klingensmith wrote, my favorite line from Superman is, Crypto, what the hey, dude? That was so Superman, so down to earth. I just love how Superman was written, not only for adults, but for the young ones as well. I enjoyed every bit of the movie. There's more lines, but that's my favorite.
Thank you very much, Jamie. Next up, we had JP Rocha, who said, my favorite quote from the new Superman movie is from Green Lantern Guy Gardner. He said, sorry, kid, Superman couldn't make it, but you've got an upgrade. Classic Guy, great quote.
Lorenzo Hot Takes Valdez wrote, my favorite quote or one-liner from James Gunn's Superman is Zalto Burek's hilarious line delivery as Moravian President Vasil Gurk. Why are you making me read these names, Lorenzo? Shouting, that is a lie! When they're in the Pocket Universe, and Superman says that he's familiar with the smell of piss from the back when he flew President Gurkos through the desert. On each of my 3 viewings of the films, that stood out to me as the funniest line. But far more important matters going on, and Lex is about to kill Molly right in front of President Gurkos in that scene. And yet, President Gurkos is so vain that he's nonetheless hung up and outraged by Superman's comment and feels the need to loudly denounce it as false. Sometimes James Gunn humor just really lands for me, and this is a prime example of that.
Very cool. Thank you, Lorenzo.
Ryan Ignatius Pratt wrote, I would say that my favorite line from the new Superman movie is the Man of Steel's words to Lex Luthor toward the end of the film, which I think goes something like this. I'm as human as anyone. I love, I get scared, I wake up every morning, and despite not knowing what to do, I put one foot in front of the other, and I try to make the best choices I can. I screw up all the time. That is being human, and that's my greatest strength. What a beautiful sentiment that expresses Superman's humanity. Truly a well-written and well-acted scene.
Yeah, well done, Ryan. I agree with that one. Thank you very much. Last up, we have Luke Lazalde, who says, as much as I love the conversation between Pa, Kent, and Clark, the one quote that stuck with me after watching the movie was Mr. Terrific. I don't need your help. I'm goddamn Mr. Terrific. On a different note, I went to San Diego Comic-Con and there were plenty of Superman-related things. I thought I would share a few of my favorite things. A great cosplayer who would hold up the Daily Planet, a life-size recreation of Action Comics #1, and the David Corenswet costume. Keep on looking up. Thank you, Luke. He did send photos of those 3 items, and sadly I didn't grab them to put in tonight's episode. But we did have somebody, Louis Jaime was at San Diego Comic-Con for us and attended many of the panels, recorded some interviews for us, some exclusives. So we'll have those in the coming days, just waiting for him to get home and be able to organize all his notes and files. So there will be plenty of material coming from the Superman homepage from San Diego Comic-Con, thanks to Louis. So look forward to those. But thank you to everyone who chimed in for this week's fan favorite question. Here is our new fan favorite question for this week. It is, who is your favorite character, other than Superman, from the new Superman movie. To get involved in the fan favorite questions, send us an email with your answer to info@supermanhomepage.com. That's info@supermanhomepage.com. And we will read out your answers when we return to this segment at in next week's show. So that they are our regular segments. Thank you very much to everyone for getting involved in those. All right, pushing on. There's some more merchandise that's been coming out for the film. This past week, we saw not just those Mondo records, but also these from BioWorld. They've got the Superman Lightning Pattern backpack. They have this Superman all-over print youth backpack set, which is obviously just the standard logo. And then you've got this one, which is a Superman Youth mini backpack. So these are all available starting now and will arrive in August. So these backpacks are from BioWorld. And then from this one is the Diamond Painting Kit set, which is available from Craft Hub. So a diamond painting kit set. I know these are kind of all the rage where, you stick these little diamonds in the different places. You have the different colors and what have you. And this is available in different sizes from Craft Hub if you're keen on doing some crafting.
I have never heard of diamond painting.
Yeah, so there's like the little pill size, even smaller than pill size, little diamond dots that come in different colors in the packages, and then you've got the artwork that you're sticking them on. So it's almost like how you explain it? It's one of those kind of crafting things that you stick a thing on, and it's like color by numbers, but instead of coloring in with a pen or pencil or texter or whatever your paint, you're doing it with these little mini diamond shapes that then when you form the final image, you've got the artwork.
I'm also going to say I feel bad for you, Steve, that you have to pronounce all of these really weird company names. Like the next two, it's just like it almost sounds like Mad Libs at this point.
Yeah, well, you're going. So yeah, this one is from Goat Skins. I mean, maybe GOAT stands for greatest of all time. I don't know, but Goat Skins.
I'm hoping.
Yeah, I'm hoping too, because they've unveiled officially licensed Superman dual jersey set. Featuring both Superman and Clark Kent jerseys in one exclusive package. And they've got the 38 number on the back, obviously, with the Meteors, the Metropolis Meteors. So this is like a jersey. And then you got You Choose. They've got a Superman collection, which features Superman, Krypto, two Kryptos, and the Kaiju. I'm guessing it's the baby version, but baby Kaiju plush. So all these items are limited editions, and they're all roughly around $29.99 US. But this is a collection from You Choose, which is YOUTOOZ.
You twos.
You twos.
I'm sorry.
Hey, you twos, I got a question.
Yeah.
Stare into the adorable eldritch horror that is the stuffed kaiju. What in the hell is that? I'm just sorry, guys. It's been a long 6 days. I've been working a lot. I'm tired. I was out in the sun today. I think I might have had like heat stroke at one point. I'm not quite sure. So I apologize for my behavior tonight. But that smile on that kaiju's face is just like creepy. Sorry.
I'm glad you're amused. Well, I mean, maybe he's eating this next thing because Saudi Arabian cake maker has put together this very impressive cake on Krypto. I'm trying to find it now. You've mucked up my my organization. I started laughing there with you. I'm not going to find it now, am I? But there was a cake based on Krypto, which was made by Xena Cakeries, and it's pretty impressive. You can see the full video up on our website. But pushing on, because I don't have that one to look at, Old Spice were at Comic-Con, and they had a whole Superman thing that you could walk into. It was like a rocket that you walked into, and it was really impressive. But getting on away from the movie itself, there's a great fan-made animation. It's only 52-second video, and it's an animated rooftop scene from All-Star Superman, where Superman comes in to save that emo girl boy that was ready to jump and take their own life. And the video is really impressive. You've got to check it out on our website, but here's just a little bit of it. That's obviously the cake. Mislabeled, but that was the cake. Where the animation is, I don't know, but you'll have to check that out on the website. There you go. But yeah, well done to Brown Table YouTube channel. The animation is excellent, and the All-Star Superman animation is definitely something you have to check out. There's also a trailer up for a teaser trailer for getting onto the comic book side of things. DC has released a 1-minute trailer for the upcoming DC KO 5-issue comic book event. This is an interesting idea, but I'm not sure what you guys think. So DCKO, Joshua Williamson, Scott Snyder, only one hero can knock out the rest and be crowned King Omega. Who will win? It's before you kind of go, what the heck? What is this all about? So starting in October, this publishing event puts heroes to the ultimate test of strength, loyalty, and knockdown drag-out brawls. Which 36 fighters will enter the Tournament of Champions? Who will rise through the brackets and rival Darkseid against his ever-growing Omega powers? And what sinister secret lies at the absolute heart of Apocalypse? Get ready for the most fun you'll have all year at a death tournament.
This is the weirdest way to celebrate the 30th anniversary of DC versus Marvel I've ever seen. It's really funny. You know, I've been really high on the Superman books for the past couple of years, and over the last couple of months, it's not like I'm thinking like anything is particularly bad. It's just I find my interest kind of waning a little bit, and maybe like a year from now I'll read it all and it'll be great. But I just think that having your big thing is just like, well, it's just gonna be a big fight. I'm just like, are we there? I guess that's where we are. This is where we are, and it's really exciting. But it's just the over the top pretentiousness of this trailer. Like last year we went, like they really needed that vote. Like last year we went all in. This
Big
year,
trailer voice.
KO, and it's just like, you know, who will win? I'm available, DC, if you decide to do that, which you will not hire me now because I've been sitting here insulting you for the past 30 seconds. But no, I mean, I'm sure people are excited for this, and I'm excited that they're excited for it.
Yeah, exactly. It'll be interesting, and we'll have to see, Mark, if you will review it. But we have come to the end of tonight's episode. Sadly, we'll have to leave it there. But I want to thank everyone for tuning in to this episode of Superman Homepage Live. Once again, thanks to all those who were part of the show live in your comments. We appreciated you having your say and being with us for this past hour. A big thank you to my co-host, Michael Bailey. Thank you, Michael. Oh, there you are.
Pleasure. Yeah, I'm over here, Steve. I love you.
And Mark Lax. Thank you, Mark.
Thank you, gentlemen.
And a huge thank you to our sponsors and patrons, Douglas Meacham, John Patrick Van Pelt, Rick Schutzau, Jamie Clegan-Smith, and Tina Murray. And remember, if you want to sponsor the show, just head to patreon.com/Superman homepage. The complete 1 hour show of Superman Homepage Live will remain up on our website and on our YouTube channel. If maybe you tuned in late, want to check it out all over again, want to watch a certain part, you'll be able to do that at those 2 locations. But we'll be back next week on Monday, July 28th at 7:30 p.m. Pacific time for another edition of Superman Homepage Live. Hope you'll join us then. Until then, be sure to check out supermanhomepage.com for all your daily news updates on everything surrounding the Man of Steel. If you've enjoyed this show, the greatest compliment is for you guys to share it, send a text message, grab that link, like it, do all those kinds of things, send it out to your friends, let them know that you watch Superman Homepage Live. That's the best compliment we can get from you. I'm Steve Eunice. On behalf of myself, Michael Bailey, Mark Lax, thanks for watching Superman Homepage Live, brought to you by supermanhomepage.com. Good night.